I remember the first time we met. All those years ago. You didn't hold the same appeal to me. I was confused. Despite everyone raving how dark, hot and sweet you are, maybe it's the bitter way you felt in my mouth. Perhaps it's the coffee shop in which we met. Or the fact that you were too hot the first time you touched my lips. Whatever the reason, it wasn't love at first sight.
Coffee is a stimulating drink compared to other drinks. It makes people also feel warm. It makes once you drink coffee, you become more attentive. You become happy.
Coffee is a social beverage. It is trendy. And you find that in most countries, you find that it is a culture. It is a fashion both for the youth and the old.
The true taste of coffee is really very individual. It's a very simple answer to say coffee is coffee, because that doesn't really tell you anything, but coffee is individual to every single person that drinks it.
I really like it because I find it healthier and easier for me to drink than tea.
It's a very nice fruity berry-based taste, but it's a very nice acidic, bright, lemony flavor.
It has, I think I like the aroma. If you drink it black, it doesn't quite taste like it smells, you know, but I like the flavor of coffee.
Coffee. It's just sweet.
An intriguing puff of marvelous fragrance. The black magic, dark potent brew. A theatrical experience. The essential morning beverage that delivers the largest dose of the world's most consumed beverage. Everyone who has drunk coffee has a story to tell. The one that opened the eyes and the nostrils to the realization that consumption of coffee provides sheer pleasure unrivaled by any other beverage in the world. Coffee has surged to the forefront of public culture in many parts of the world. This excellent beverage has been at the center of conversations for centuries. It has sparked romances and altered cultures, if not lives.
Okay, coffee was first discovered in Ethiopia. Okay, and the first people who were drinking coffee, they never used to roast it. They just washed the cherries, boiled it in water, and they actually used to drink that water. Our forefathers grew up with drinking tea because they were restricted by the British to actually drink the coffee. So they grew up with tea, and of course we grew up in these homes, and that's what we knew, tea.
And therefore Kenyans perceived coffee to be for the foreign master and for the elite. And therefore they took to the tea and forgot about the coffee.
Now of course I know better. Now I confess I can't live without you. I love the warm way you feel in my hand. I love watching my favorite program next to you. I love working next to you. I I love sleeping next to you.
Coffee has been both a mirror of social life in the consuming countries and a powerful factor in changing social standards and interaction. Coffee helped introduce major changes in the gender roles and images of women in Britain as coffeehouse culture developed in the 1600s. This excellent drink provided the dominant social lubricant in American social life. It is a perfectly acceptable, even favorite drink in Muslim countries, where of course alcohol is forbidden. And if you go to any Ethiopian household, you'll be served coffee before any dish. But is coffee often a word associated with the Kenyan culture?
In Kenya, we consume about 3% of what we produce, and that one translates to about 1,500 metric tons, 1,500 metric tons. Ethiopia consumes 50% of what they produce, and the production of Ethiopia is 4,400,000 bags, which translates to about 132,000 metric tons.
Coffee culture is getting better by the day. People are now experimenting with different coffees. I mean, currently what we do in our establishment is we range all the way from normal espresso, espresso-based drinks, to even filter coffees and pour-over coffees, to even cold brews now. And people want to experiment more. People want to get a much more wider variety of coffee and coffee-based drinks.
There is a growing need for a niche market that relates to gifts and souvenirs. We are seeing corporates now saying they want to, in their gift hamper, they want to see coffee in it. And at Chalet, as you can see, we have done that to deliver good gifts to clients.
As a university, in our endeavor to promote coffee consumption, we have packaged our Dikut branded coffee, premium coffee, that we are selling at cost, so that we can model coffee packaging and promote coffee consumption to the youth especially.
There are, a variety of different kinds of coffee houses with different kinds of names and different kinds of products. So I think the consumption of coffee within Kenya is definitely on the increase.
Today I want to show you how to make a good cup of coffee from home. If you have a French press, then you have your coffee here, medium brown. You use 2 tablespoons, like that. Then you pour the already boiled water, which is hot, just a bit of it. And then, using a spoon, you stir. Then you give it like 2 minutes for it to brew. And then after that, that is when you top up with hot water. Then use the place to put down the residue until this knob touches the lid. And now, as you can see, we have our coffee ready.
In the 16th century, there was a lot of discussion around coffee. Should people drink coffee? Should we even trade in this commodity? Is it true that they that drink of this substance can still be able to differentiate between the heavens and the earth? And during that time, one learned sheikh said that coffee is a common man's gold.
We can still enjoy very good coffee if we embrace a coffee drinking culture. The communities that live in Ethiopia and also in the northern part of Kenya, neighboring Ethiopia, do have a coffee drinking culture. They enjoy good coffee and they don't pay that much for it.
We never do buy the powder. We always buy the green beans, coffee beans, and then you wash them, roast them, grind them practically like mechanically, or you can use just a grinder. So we usually just take fresh coffee. Every day it's fresh coffee. We never buy from the supermarket or anything. So you always get fresh and sweet coffee.
Sasa shida ni quality hizi saa zingine una get ni expensive kwa watu sana, wana introduce hizi masachet watu wafike bei. Saa zingine una get coffee expensive huko.
I think the price depends upon the quality of the coffee. And I mean, people have different budgets. So I think you would need to look at your budget and the kind of coffee that you might be able to consume. Frankly, I drink all kinds of coffee. On campus, we don't buy high-end coffee.
You've been there for me through the toughest times. Through meetups and breakups. And through college papers. You pick me up in the wee hours of the night when no one else can. You give me energy when I feel low. Almost everyone who meets you either loves you or at the very least respects you.
Like wine, coffee offers a path to sophistication. Coffee requires that we treat it as a prized commodity, storing and brewing it with loving care. It is a drink prepared with care in a nearly ritualistic fashion. It can be a fast beverage or, of course, an instant one. Serenity, tranquility, and ambience. It's all right here, made fresh in your cup, at home or at work. Quality coffee waiting to be drunk by Kenyans. It can be bought in bags, cartons, cans, tins, jars, packets, and even sachets. It can be drunk at home or away, prepared by person or machine. However, there are certain myths about coffee that may inhibit its consumption among Kenyans.
There are a lot of myths about coffee drinking, not particularly in Kenya, but worldwide.
I've heard in some countries young people are not supposed to take coffee. I don't know, I've heard it makes people hyperactive.
Anything negative about coffee?
Maybe ulcers, but I don't know if it's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it gives dehydration. It makes people dehydrated. That's what I've heard.
The youth think that coffee, one can get addicted to coffee. But the addiction in coffee is much better than the addiction one finds in alcohol.
So, hiyo myth nasema watu wanasema the people with albinism wafai kunywa coffee na haribikia. Naweza ita crap.
It can cause various diseases, and it can be detrimental to women that are expecting babies, for instance. But most of these myths over the last few years have been blown apart by science.
Although there are myths that coffee can cause cancer, heart disease, and hypertension, infection, complications of a pregnancy, bone disease, or kidney stones. Coffee has been seen to prevent skin cancer. A new study out of Rutgers University found that caffeine prevented cancer in hairless, skin cancer in hairless mice.
Caffeine, above all in coffee, is the world's most widely consumed drug, in the sense of a substance ingested that alters body chemistry or mental stimulation. Scientists say a cup of coffee contains more than 1,000 chemical compounds, and this has given rise to endless debates about the health benefits of coffee.
So the safe amount of coffee that should be taken in a day is about 250 to 300 milligrams a day, which works out to be like 3 cups of coffee a day. You're safe to take 3 cups of coffee a day.
Kuna time nakunywa kahawa sana. Time za baridi, time exam, wakati utafanya mtihani pia. Inakusaidia kusoma na kuweka active.
Now there are many health benefits of coffee?
Oh, well, if you've seen many of Ethiopian people, they're not really big. As he was explaining,
coffee drinkers had a lower risk of developing basal cell carcinoma. This is the ones which are, I talked about the fat.
it reduces fat a lot, it burns fat.
It can increase the heart rate. It can increase the blood pressure. Sometimes people who have low blood pressures are given a cup of coffee and it may bring it up.
Personally, that disability, unajua sisi pia ni binadamu kawaida, so sijaisikia mtu ako surprised kwa nini nakunywa coffee. Because sijaisikia hata mmoja. Sidhani wako surprised, siwezi kwa because na kitu nakunywanga every day.
Caffeine can detoxify in the liver, so it can be used as a detoxicant. There's a study in Sweden which has shown that it reduces stroke in 22 to 25% of cases, particularly in women.
You can do so many things with coffee. For example, there's the boozy coffees. This is another type of coffee where you can mix coffee with alcohol.
Drink inanipeleka to the negative. Coffee inaniamusha. Sasa mimi niko hapo katikati. Ninamaliza tu mbaya. Alafu naweza control. Naweza rudisha coffee, ukikunywa coffee kama uko drunk. After drinking, unaweza rudisha chini ulevi by kutake coffee. Sasa imagine mimi nacheza hapo, nakanyaga clutch na accelerator. Zote mimi ndio I'm in control. I'm the driver of this big machine. I mean me.
I really used to hear about these coffee dates and stuff, and it really used to look like something classy, something I'd want to experience. So when this guy approached me and he asked me, can we have coffee later? I was like, finally, my coffee date is here. And so the next weekend we went out and we went to a coffee shop, and to my amazement, when I looked at the menu, I couldn't see anything I knew. So I asked him to make the choice for me, and he asked me what I liked. I told him I'm in love with vanilla. So he chose vanilla latte for me. He said it would be a nice start. And I liked the vanilla latte, and I think it made me like the guy more.
You are my sweet sunshine, my chérie amour, my fort in the storm. You can be as cold as ice or as hot as the sun, but I still want you around. I love you more today than yesterday, but not as much as tomorrow. And so, for all this, and for so much more, I love you. This love letter is nearly over. But don't worry. This isn't goodbye. It's see you later.
Coffee business is a very complex business. It requires the involvement of the university. It requires researchers. It requires a deep understanding of the international market and the trade.
There's a certain amount of people that are producing coffee and selling coffee that is not necessarily licensed, so informal trade that is going against the major companies that have put a lot of investment and a lot of research and development into producing very good quality coffee.
One of the biggest challenges is actually education of how coffee is actually made. I think the first time we mentioned that we can do cold brew coffees, a lot of people got scared in that there is no heat involved in actually brewing coffee. But it's actually an 18 to 20 hour process of brewing coffee with cold water.
Having more Kenyans or entrepreneurs investing in coffee roasting, packaging, and probably making it even cheaper for the Kenyans to assess. Assessing is very important. So if we have few, it's a demand and supply. You'll find out that maybe it will go more expensive.
Coffee grows in some 70 countries around the world. The International Coffee Organization, based in London, estimates that 26 million people are occupied with coffee in 52 producing countries. And according to the United Nations, the coffee business may amount now to some $100 billion annually. However, these impressive figures may not mean much to Kenya if we do not enhance the culture of domestic consumption of coffee.
We do a lot of wet sampling at supermarkets. We take a lot of road shows around the country and try and do it in that way. We also have a training school where we have regular training courses for mostly young people to teach them how to make coffee and how to make better coffee in their own establishments, whether that's the hospitality industry or in an office or a hotel or a restaurant. And they come and they spend a week and they make better coffee. And of course, if there's better coffee being made, then there's more people going to drink it.
For us at Leaf & Bee, we would prefer to actually target the neighborhoods because we believe each neighborhood has their own tastes in coffee, and we actually target like different neighborhoods with different styles of coffee.
They can also be, they can start coffee houses, and we also told them that we are starting this to help them to start their business through financing, like we have the Coffee Development Fund.
For instance, if we have 10 people in Buruburu roasting coffee, young people in Buruburu roasting coffee, and supplying to that community, another 10 in Umoja, another 10 in Gong. In 5 years, we have a movement of youth, and people grow up with we could change the culture of how coffee is consumed in Kenya.
In addition to Cafe Latte, which is here, which is our outdoor coffee shop, our indoor coffee shop at the cafeteria has also started offering designer coffees.
T.S. Eliot once wrote with longing, "I have measured out my life in coffee spoons," in the poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Indeed, people's tastes and preferences vary widely, from consuming instant coffee at home to drinking coffee only at cutting-edge cafes or upscale coffee bars made by an experienced barista. Whatever kind of coffee you drink, or even if you don't touch coffee, it calls for attention and respect. Wake up and smell the coffee.
Coffee!